All right. What's happening? So I've been having some crazy audio issues. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying a new program now. Hopefully that helps. That's what happens when you don't have a professional editor doing all this myself here. And it's a lot more trickier than it looks, to be honest. I'm like blue belt level at this stuff, so but it is what it is. Hopefully this works because this has been driving me absolutely crazy. Last past weekend, the big news: Ryan Garcia defeats Devin Haney. Crazy performance. New mythical fighter unlocked. Ryan Garcia, intoxicated Ryan Garcia. You got to put him up there with, TRT, Vitor, horse meat, Alistair Overeem. Just savages. Priusada, Anderson Silva. But yeah, man, Ryan Garcia looked phenomenal, and I would like to see the rematch with him and Tank. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think Tank is scared to fight Ryan Garcia at a proper weight without this rehydration clause? Because I went back and I read the contract, and if I'm fighting, let's say I'm fighting Alex Perez, for example, I want to fight the best version of Alex Perez. I don't want to put this, oh, he's got to cut to 120 and then he can only rehydrate back up to 130. It's like that's not going to be the best version of Alex Perez if I'm depleting him so much. It's the same thing, Floyd Mayweather used to do, even, fighting guys coming off injuries or past their age, like fought Shane O'Mosley, 40 years old. Didn't want to fight him in his prime. Manny Pacquiao was on a roll. No one wanted to fight Pacquiao, including Mayweather, until he's seen, he's over the hill, shoulder injury, blah, blah, blah. All these rehydration clauses that these fighters are doing. That's definitely one of Floyd's tactics he used for Gervonta. And it was absolutely genius because I think if he rematches Ryan Garcia at a proper weight, let's say 147, no rehydration clause, I think that's going to be a total different fight. But this weekend, UFC is in the Apex and no crowd, I'm assuming, or just a small crowd. A little weird because, COVID's done. I like to see the crowd back, but it makes sense if they're doing a card like this. Not the greatest card, but this one you can, build some bankroll for UFC 301 next weekend, which is crazy that that pay-per-view's here so quickly, considering 300 just passed. And not the greatest pay-per-view either, but there's some good fights on that pay-per-view. Chabo Hala, look out for him. So this weekend we got Alex Perez taking on Mateus Nicolau. Leaning towards so both guys coming off losses, right? Mateus Nicolau just got finished by Brandon Royval. Alex Perez just got beat by Muhammad Makayev in actually a very impressive performance because you guys all know I've been super high on Makayev. I think he might be your next champion at flyweight. And the way Alex Perez looked in that fight was very impressive. And I know he's coming off 3 straight losses, but there's a reason why he's only plus 150, guy coming off 3 straight losses. And, Nicolau's a killer, but I think I'm going to lean towards the underdog on this one just because I've been so impressed with his last performance here against Makayev. So I'm leaning towards Perez on that one. Up next, Ryan Spann taking on Bogdan Guskov. So Ryan Spann coming off a loss to Anthony Smith, and before that, losing to Krylov. So the Krylov loss doesn't really, I think Krylov's a really good fighter. But Anthony Smith, man, this guy's doing more commentating than he is actually training, and the fact that he beat Ryan Spann in a split decision, I know it was a split, but just not impressive towards me. And I know Bogdan Guskov, he's a very good striker, does have some holes in his submission game, and Ryan Spann does have some good chokes, especially that front ninja choke he likes to go for. But I think this is going to be primarily a striking match, and I think Bogdan might be able to actually get it down on the feet. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't go to the ground because his ground game is not the greatest. He did get submitted by a striker in Volkan Oezdemir. Up next, this one's interesting. Austin Lane. So this guy's coming off a vicious knockout loss to Justin Tafa. Before that, he actually fought Tafa the first fight, and it was an eye poke. So They had to, reschedule that. Then his last fight with Tafa just got destroyed with that left hook in like, 2 minutes in. And now he's fighting an even better striker than Justin Tafa. If you guys don't know, Jonathan Diaz, this guy's coming over from Glory Kickboxing. Super, super high level kickboxer. He's been in there with guys like Daniel Guida, Rico Verhoeven. Rico Verhoeven, probably pound for pound, number one heavyweight kickboxer on the planet. If not of all time, best heavyweight kickboxer. Phenomenal. And this is the type of guys Jonathan Denise has been fighting. Sorry, I said Diaz, but yeah, Jonathan Denise is for real. His striking is phenomenal. So, Austin Lane, if he can get it to the ground, but he's not someone who really takes it to the ground, he's a striker himself. I just think it's going to play right into Denise's hands, and I think he's going to knock out Austin Lane in the first round because this boy cracks, dude. He's fighting the Contender Series. That guy he fought, Neves, he's really good himself. Tough Brazilian, and Denise just destroyed him. This is a super high level kickboxer. You ever see the guys coming over from Glory? Like, they're for real. Jonathan Pierce taking on David Onama. Not too, high on this fight. I'll go with Jonathan Pierce though. This is the one though. Tim the Dirty Bird Means, age 40, fighting the 30-year-old Uroš Medic. So Uroš Medic, he's a very good striker, hits hard, and his last fight he fought Miktebek, who's a killer from Kyrgyzstan, and he cracked Miktebek, had him hurt in that first round, and then all of a sudden, the Kyrgyzstan just turned wrestler and just outgrappled Uroš for the rest of the fight. And Tim Means, he's got good grappling, but he's a guy who likes to stand and exchange. He's a very good striker, And unfortunately, I think for him, Uroš is the better striker out of the two. And, age 40, Tim Means did win his last fight, but that was over Andre Fiallo, who is on he's on like a 4 or 5 fight losing streak. And, before that, Tim Means lost 3 in a row. I mean, they're against good competition, better competition, I'd say. Like Kevin Holland's probably the most notable and best out of those 3, but I just think it's a bad matchup for Tim Means, and I think, I don't know how many more fights Tim Means got in the gas tank, but I think Uroš should get it done. Now, that being said, does Tim Means have a chance to win this fight? He absolutely does. Tim Means can easily win this fight. Even, he beat Dalby, man. And look at this, plus 250. I don't agree with that odds whatsoever. Plus 250, a little disrespectful in my opinion, but hey, maybe the odds makers know something I don't. But I'm going to touch on 2 more here. Kyle Machado taking on Dontel Mays. So Kyle Machado, fighting out of Vancouver, BC. Great striker. Grappling definitely needs a lot of work because his last fight took on Mick Parkin. If you guys don't know Mick Parkin, he's an undefeated Englishman at heavyweight, and he just beat Muhammad Usman, who is Kamaru Usman's older brother, and just, he's a very strong grappler, right? And Machado was piecing him up on the feet and landed some nice kicks, big shots. Mick Parkin just ate them and, proceeded to take Machado down. So if Machado can, either work on some of that grappling or, fight a striker, which he is in this fight. He's fighting a guy who's primarily a striker in Dontel Mays. It might actually be very good for Machado. I think it's going to be Machado that takes this one. I think he's the better striker of the two, and I think this fight is probably, you're not going to see too much grappling in this one. So I'm leaning towards Kyle Machado. He should be able to get it done. And the last one I'm going to touch on here is Gabriel Benitez taking on Mahishate. Mahishate, I don't know. They don't have his first name, which is Haisar. Interesting. He's the only fighter that they only have his last name, which is interesting. But he came into the UFC super young, 20 or 21, I believe. It was his first fight on the Contender Series, which was really impressive. Then his first fight in the UFC, he one punches, literally murders Steve Garcia, and just flatlines him. Then his last 2 performances, he fought Rafa Garcia, lost the decision, but then his last performance, he got finished in his last fight to Borischev. Not impressive at all, but I think, he's taking a big step down in competition fighting Gabriel Benitez. Gabriel Benitez is the guy that you put to build up people's, um, build up people's record, so to speak. And I think he's just a lower tier of fighter that Mahita has currently been in there with. And I think Mahita easily gets this one done. Gabriel Benitez, coming off a loss to, 40-year-old Jim Miller, where he got destroyed. I just think Mahita easily crushes him in this one. Look at the height advantage too, 6 foot to 5'8", similar reach. But I think Mahita should get this one done, no problem. And if you guys need a place to bet, BetUS, promo code Iceman. We got the best promotions in the sports betting game. 125% deposit on your first initial 3 deposits. So take advantage of that. If you guys don't like it, you don't have to continue using it, but try it out because I'm telling you right now, you will not regret it. Out. Hopefully this audio is better.